activity, then why completely cut it out? Because that's not going to help in the long term. You're going to start feeling, a little bit down because you've not got anything to find to have that release. So don't cut everything out. Just manage it better, or find some time, work out a little plan. So that's probably a better way of doing it than completely shutting out any activities.
So I remember earlier in the conversation you were talking about not getting enough nutrition, particularly when you had a J pouch yourself. What was there anything that you used to help supplement your diet in order to make sure you were getting as much vitamins and minerals as you could?
So this was massive trial and error for me. I found that if I tried to get on as much clean and solid protein as I could, and I didn't find that had any bad effects on my stomach. So, but if I thought, well, actually, I've got a high metabolism, natural high metabolism. So with the training effect on top of that, I needed a lot more calories in my body. However, having the J pouch, going to the toilet 12 to 15 times a day, would mean that I wouldn't be able to sustain that calories in my body on top of the training. In essence, I would be in a calorie deficit all the time. So I would probably try and supplement that with a protein supplement. But I wouldn't be able to drink the protein as a shake, because that would be in one end and out the other. So then I was just wasting money. I literally may well just be pouring the protein down the toilet. So what I did find is that if I was going to supplement, is some of the flapjack bars, or I would put the protein powder into a porridge, and I could tolerate, my stomach could tolerate that a lot better. What else would I mean? Banana.
That's one of the things as well, like what you're talking about. So I personally was one of those skeptics when I was looking at things. So we've both got some knowledge in a sort of nutrition arena, just from personal experience, a little bit of stuff here and there. It was part of our degrees, a little like for a module. So I became fixated for a long period that consuming protein with carbs reduced my body's effectiveness to be able to synthesize protein. So, right. And I find a lot of people will basically dismiss you if you're consuming protein with a carb, because they're like, oh, well, you're just not getting the protein. But I think for people like us, well, that's the only way you're going to get it in. In some cases, certainly for yourself, that was the only way. So again, it comes back to that: you're getting 100% more protein than you are if you just took it straight. Because it's going straight out.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, it was always clean eating for me. I've always been that way, regardless of the illness that I had. It would always be as clean as you like. However, my weekend eating would still be a little bit relaxed. So, not that my diet was always geared around training, but it was more an amalgamation of training and the illness and the effects that the food would have on my energy levels. So like I said, I would try and supplement if, of course, I couldn't get enough calories in through good food products, if that makes sense. Because essentially a supplement is exactly that. It's to supplement something that your body is lacking in any way. So other foods would be bananas, white rice, anything that I would just kind of be able to maintain in my body, whether it be good or bad. It would still be some nutritional value, some calorific value that would be maintained in my body, so I would keep up a decent amount of weight, if that makes sense. But there was, I wouldn't say there was anything I would be able to say, yeah, definitely this, because again, we're all very different. I know that people would be able to tolerate chocolate better than I would. I'll be talking, obviously bad foods now, but be able to tolerate chocolate a lot better than I would. So I take chocolate, and again, in one end out the other, which is highly not very nice feeling, because obviously we all like a bit of chocolate. Foods.
At least it's brown and brown the other.
What you are?
At least it was brown going in as well as brown going out.
Yeah, unless it was white chocolate. But so I mean, we can elaborate more on diet and nutrition another point. It's just to try to make the point that if you're struggling to get the calories in through good through just good eating and good food is that there's always an option of taking a supplementation. It's just how that supplement sits on your body. There's loads, there's a plethora of different products out there that you can take. Personally, I found that the USN anabolic one was high calories and it was actually quite nice tasting, and that mixed with porridge would always be pretty good on my stomach. So I found that would give me enough calories as well, so that I wouldn't go into a calorific deficit post-training or pre-training.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm just very focused on vitamins and minerals. So like I'm always experimenting with veg, just to see what I can consume. That's basically like energy. And a good balance has been my focus since, well, for the last 6 years now, since I was diagnosed. And that's been my main driver. So for me now, like after last year's 2 or 3 viral infections, I've been even more so looking, right, I am not getting enough vitamins and minerals. So despite chucking as much veg and fruit, well, more veg than fruit actually, into my system as possible to try and get those levels up, it still wasn't enough. So I found like getting like green juices. So you can get green juices from, there's lots of different ones on the market.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot of mixture of vitamins. So there'll be things like spinach and spirulina and stuff in there. What I've found is that mixed with like a banana or something makes it, again, like you're saying with protein, just makes it stay in my system. And because it's a high, what would you call it? It's a high saturation of vitamins. Then I'm getting more into myself, and then taking things like zinc and magnesium and vitamin Bs. Again, supplementing that in there on top of an already heavily fruit and veg biased diet. Just make sure that I'm actually getting the right levels, because I think vitamin B for people with Crohn's colitis or whatever stage, I think is from my reading is a vitamin that we really struggle to absorb because of the high output. And that has, in the last couple of months, really, I've noticed a real big difference through just making sure, having those, again, like you said, healthy, balanced diet, lots of fruit and veg, adding those 2 things in, so a green juice and supplementing with zinc and magnesium and B vitamins, has really helped me be better in the mornings. And I feel a little bit fresher.
If vitamins, I've tried obviously just administering vitamins through your multivitamin tablets and stuff, and I still didn't find that had any benefits from taking them. So generally, I found that if I was taking, I found that because of the output that I was very iron deficient. So I think taking the iron vitamins made a big difference for me. But like I said, I feel like because that didn't make much of a difference, that I might be getting enough just from taking the good various amounts of food and different amounts of the such as, like you said, spinach, taking on bananas. You're getting plenty of zinc in the diet. So it's just finding the right foods. It doesn't also, because some people may think, buying all the different supplements, buying all the different products it's not very cost effective. But then I would say, conversely, is that you can't put a price on your health. So if you can find it through good foods, if you can find a good balance through good foods, then essentially you won't need the extra vitamins, or you won't need the extra supplements. But they are there to help, and whatever works best for you will obviously then have a good effect on your training or even on just your daily life, really.
So John, what would your takeaway be? What would you from today's episode? What would you want people to take away from it? What would be your 3 key areas to take something away from here?
Firstly, it's just to understand that it's not the be all and end all. Even with just the diagnosis, first of all, it's not the be all and end all. It doesn't have to define who you are or what you're able to do. Secondly, don't stop what you're doing because of this. Try and work out ways around how you can set little goals and not just think, right, that's it, got a diagnosis, I'm not going to get any better, I'm not going to get back to where I was, so let's ultimately just stop what I'm doing. that's not the point. That's not the approach, because you've got to be positive throughout. Thirdly is just, there is light at the end of the tunnel. It's a horrible, debilitating disease, but I found for myself is that a lot more people out there experiencing these kind of problems, and the more you talk about it, the more people you get involved, you can flow off each other and understand what works for them, but might actually work for you that you never thought about before. So just having a good support group as well, and just get out there and enjoy it and embrace it, and just try and overcome everything. You know, it's a horrible hurdle to overcome, but with support, the family, friends, and people that have been through the same kind of thing, is that there is light at the end of the tunnel.